Hello, everyone. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our webinar on leveraging sustainability for online growth, co-hosted with Alavi. Our speaker today is Myra Qureshi Jahangir, the co-founder and CEO of CoNATURAL. CoNATURAL is Pakistan's first natural and organic skincare and hair care company that now exports to the UK and UAE as well. We are so excited to talk more about her journey and how she started this startup and what she's doing currently. To moderate this webinar and Q&A session, we have Shweta and Anishka from Alavi, and I'll hand over to them. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can leave in the chat box of the Zoom, or if you are watching us live on Facebook, you can write down your comment on Facebook comment, and we'll address all of your questions at the end of the session. Over to you, Anishka and Shweta.
Hi, everyone, and thanks, Anum, so much for that introduction. And I hope everyone's having, a great evening. And it's such a pleasure to be actually moderating this discussion with Myra and along with Anishka for the Q&A session. So just before we begin, I would like to tell you a little bit about Alavi and why exactly, we are co-hosting this webinar with the Pakistan eCommerce Consortium. So what Alavi is an AI and a data science powered marketing analytics application. So this was basically, built for digital marketing teams with the aim of, helping brands grow and scale online. And that's why, we're partnering up with Pakistan eCommerce Consortium to, bring this great webinar to you. And obviously, if you'd like to learn more about Alavi, you can always visit our website at www.alavi.ai. And also welcome, Myra, to this conversation. We're super excited to have you here today. And I'm sure our audience is, excited to hear more about your brand and how you've, developed CoNATURAL to be this leading brand in Pakistan and, exporting to other countries as well. And we're also eager to, learn more about how you kind of, leverage sustainability to help your brand grow online. So just to start off with this discussion, Myra, could you tell us a little bit about CoNATURAL and, what inspired your brand?
Shweta, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can.
Great. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the Pakistani Consortium for e-commerce as well as Alavi for having me. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here. So to tell you a little bit about CoNATURAL, CoNATURAL is the pioneer in making and retailing truly 100% natural and organic products in Pakistan. We're an ethical brand and we're women-led and women-owned. We're one of the first beauty companies and also women-led beauty companies to raise money last year. We raised $825,000 through VC and angel funding to scale our growth. CoNATURAL, we make truly organic products. So when we say truly organic, it means it's completely free from Triclosan, Parabens, Sulphates, mineral oil, artificial fragrances, artificial colors. And so with truly natural products, we have about 60 SKUs that we currently sell. We've R&D'd about 130, many of which we export. And then we also make for hotel chains in Pakistan. Our main mode of retail is through online. And we're also in about 300 plus stores across Pakistan. One of our main things, which I know this talk is going to really focus on, is sustainability. And we're also really proud to be one of the first key companies in Pakistan in the beauty industry to commit to no animal testing for any of our products. What inspired the brand? Well, basically, my background actually is investment banking and financial services. I lived in the UK before I moved to Pakistan in 2014. I lived there for about 13 years. And I worked in a number of financial institutions like Citigroup, ING, Deloitte, etc. And when I came back, I've always been a tree hugger and I've always wanted to do something that was good for the planet. before I kind of embarked on an entrepreneurial journey. So that was always kind of a passion. And then we looked at the market and we felt that there was a major need for truly organic and natural products. We felt that on the shelf, whatever was labeled, which stuff that was labeled as herbal or natural or organic, we see that today as well. It wasn't really truly organic or herbal. They were basically chemical bases with like some herbal extracts, and they were being marketed as herbal. And we felt that there was a need to go totally 100% natural and also try and get the certified organic label and try and get certified organic ingredients and kind of bring that to consumers because there was a demand. Our second thing is that obviously we wanted to do something good for planet Earth, something that was sustainable and something that didn't destroy planet Earth. So kind of organic was our go-to. And thirdly, for Rema, my co-founder, my sister and co-founder, and I, it was very important that we wanted to bring more women into the workplace. And we felt that more women could be brought into the workplace because through our brand, because A, we're women-led and women-owned. And B, also, you know, with beauty, a lot of women are interested in beauty. So those are kind of our three inspirations behind bringing CoNATURAL to the Pakistani market.
Okay, wonderful, Myra. I think that story is really inspiring. And so just in terms of moving on with our topic, sustainability. So sustainability in a business sense, you know, largely means putting into place practices that will, you know, help alleviate further damage to the planet and ensure the profitability of the business as well. So could you just explain to us, you know, what sustainability means to CoNATURAL and why is it such an essential part of your brand?
Sure. So, I mean, sustainability, as you say, for our brand kind of means three things. One is obviously the avoidance of the depletion of natural resources to maintain ecological balance. Second is to avoid wastage of resources, any sort of wastage of resources. Resources are finite. Planet Earth is amazing. It gives us so many beautiful resources, so we don't want to waste them. And thirdly, we kind of go beyond that. We say, well, we want to leave, and this is a personal passion point as well as a CoNATURAL passion point, that we want to leave the planet Earth in somewhat of a better condition for our children than when we found it. So kind of those three things are what sustainability means to us.
All right, wonderful. And I think that's really, you know, very considerate of your brand to, you know, be thinking about the future and not just at the present stage. So that's really interesting to understand. And in terms of some examples that you can give us and the audience, so could you just give us some examples of the environmentally friendly activities and strategies that your brand CoNATURAL has implemented?
Yeah, sure. We've done quite a few initiatives. I'll pinpoint some of the main ones. One is obviously we're a beauty brand and we make all sorts of beauty products, right? Whether it's shampoos, lotions, soaps, lip scrubs, body creams, etc. So one is that we want to reduce single-use plastic. That is one of our main goals. So one of the things that we're very, very into is using glass packaging, which can be recycled. So number one is that we're using a lot of glass packaging so that, you know, it can be recycled into, easily recycled even if thrown in the trash. B, so most of our packaging that is paper, we're trying to use craft or we're trying to use recycled paper and print on that. And for all of our packaging, we actually have that recyclable sign on it, you know, the one which has 2 arrows. So we're doing that. Number 3 is that for our commitment against single-use plastic, we were the first company in Pakistan to install refillable machines. You might have seen it on our social media or on our LinkedIn. This we did last month, and right now it's a pilot project. We're doing it with Davam Life, where it's an automated machine. You take any bottle, it doesn't have to be a CoNATURAL bottle, and you go and place it. It's like a vending machine basically, but it has shampoo in it. And we're doing a pilot with just shampoo, and we want to introduce it for our other SKUs as well. So you basically take any bottle, you put it in the vending machine, you say how many ml you want, the bottle will automatically pour it for you, and you know, you go and pay for, you wait and you pay for it, and Bob's your uncle. So we're one of the first people to do that in Pakistan, and we really want to roll that out to all major malls, etc. Right now, we're doing some learning with our pilot project, but our idea is that we want to take it to many of the high street stores, our own stores, as well as many of the malls across Pakistan. The third thing that we're trying to do, and which is on the pipeline, which I'm really excited about actually, is waterless technology. So we make cosmetic products, as you know, and so imagine every machine, like let's say we're making a batch of shampoo, and it's a ton of shampoo that we're making. Every time you have to clean that vessel with water before you make, let's say, another product in it, like the body lotion. But in cosmetic technology, usually the machine is never directly heated. It also has, it's basically like, imagine it's a bain marine. So it's one vessel and then there's another vessel in it. And that also has water in it, which is always thrown away. So we're actually buying a new machine. It should be arriving on the 20th of June, which is like next week. And for that, we're committing to waterless technology. That means any water that we're going to be using to clean the machines after every batch use, and all the machine that's going in the jacket of the water will be recycled. Because otherwise there's just so much wastage of water, and water is such a precious commodity. And just because people aren't talking about it right now, water, just like electricity and gas, is scarce in Pakistan. We're going to have this problem in the next couple of years, and not too much media attention has been given to this topic, but you know, it's a fact and it's a thing. So we want to be on the front. We want to be, as a company, a front runner in kind of waterless technology. So that's one of the third things we're doing. Also, from an e-commerce business point of view, which we want to be the leader in e-commerce for natural and organic beauty. One of the things is we're looking at is paperless receipts. So instead of, this is a bit of a tough one because not everyone has email and stuff, but for those who do, even for our stores, rather than issuing a paper receipt, we just send it to you via an email or we send it to you via text. So that's also something that we're trying to do as part of our sustainability efforts, so that we waste less paper. So here, yeah, I guess those are the four main examples of us trying to be sustainable.
Wonderful. Thanks, Myra. So I think those are some really great initiatives. And I especially like the fact you mentioned about the vending machines, which are refillable. I think that's really a good initiative as well. So just to move on in terms of technology. So we all know, obviously, e-commerce brands cannot survive and thrive without technology. So tech actually plays a major role in ensuring a business is sustainable in the long run in terms of a profitability standpoint. So just in terms of your brand CoNATURAL, so in what ways do you use technology to ensure that your business is sustainable in terms of a profitability standpoint?
Yeah, so I guess it's 2021, and I don't think any business can kind of survive without technology. We're using technology. I mean, A, we're a startup. B, we're very pro-technology, and we're kind of using technology in every part of our business, whether it's our e-commerce platform, our store systems, our inventory systems, our delivery partner systems, and this all, there's less wastage of resources, there's less wastage of paper, there's less wastage of labor, there's, it creates sustainability and efficiency at every level, and obviously affects our bottom line in a positive way. One of the examples, we're talking to the Alavi team here, one of the examples I'd like to give is with Alavi, which we're using and which has really helped us scale from an e-commerce platform and digital marketing standpoint, whereby for those who don't know about Alavi, you can go check them out on their website. But for us, they've really helped us find better audiences and correct audiences so that we don't waste resources and money and creative spirit in advertising to people who potentially don't like the brand. The AI is quite robust and it helps us find audiences which are most likely to convert. So I think that Alavi has been instrumental, for example, as a technology for less wastage and better allocation of resources as far as our marketing budget is concerned, which all adds to sustainability.
All right, thank you so much, Myra. And I we are really super grateful for the fact that you actually mentioned Alavi and how it's really helping your brand as well. I think it really, resonates with our branding as well, kind of where we stand at, this is what we want to hear, how Alavi really helps e-commerce brands grow and, thrive. So that's really wonderful to hear. And then just to move on. So how do you see sustainability in the e-commerce space evolving? So especially, given the impact of COVID-19 and the pandemic and all the consequences that it's brought. So what is CoNATURAL actually excited about when it comes to being sustainable in future?
So I think that sustainability has become really topical in the COVID-19 pandemic. So let's look at it from a global standpoint. If you look at the G7, it was just a couple of days ago, and all the world leaders, I remember with the Paris Convention, some of the US always had kind of a more blasé approach to like climate change, etc. But with COVID-19, I think it's allowed everyone to take a step back and, see what is it exactly that we're doing to planet Earth. I mean, there's so many conspiracy theories out there, but one of them is that this is a natural response of planet Earth to, cull our population and try and bring down consumerism to an extent. And so I feel like sustainability is a top agenda of the G7. I mean, like if you look at even what they said, they've reaffirmed their commitments to the 1.5 degree threshold, which is a temperature increasing every year. They've committed to net zero emissions by 2050. They've adopted stricter measures on burning coal. They've want to protect more biodiversity and tackle deforestation. So, and this is applicable at a government level, and they wanted to kind of stream down into businesses. So it's very applicable to e-commerce. And I think that, and that's just from like a policy level, but even if you look at it from a consumer level, I think all consumers have kind of, there's a lot of change. McKinsey did a very interesting report, I think it was last year during the pandemic, that actually with young consumers, brand loyalty isn't a thing anymore, especially with COVID-19. And there was another study saying that actually young people don't really care about brands, but they care about who the brand is, who is it run by, what are its political views, what are its climate goals, what are its sustainability goals, is it good for the planet? So, I mean, I think young people are definitely looking at that on a global scale, especially. In Pakistan, I mean, if we look at it, we have a very young population anyway. I think the average age of our population currently stands at 23, 24 years old. And I think that they're very different to, let's say, my age or older people. They do care about sustainable activities. And so I think that this will play a very large role in e-commerce businesses as well as other businesses in the near future. And for CoNATURAL, I mean, it's part of it's a big part of what we do is sustainability, and it's one of the reasons why we do organic and natural is for sustainability. So it's very up there in terms of our goals as well.
All right, Myra, and I totally agree with you. The younger generation is obviously more caring and considerate about the kind of products that they are buying and the kind of products that they want to use on a long term. Totally agree with that point. And yeah, so I think you've given us some great examples of how sustainability has kind of helped your brand strengthen its online growth. So if an online brand is trying to ensure its business is sustainable, both from like an environmental standpoint and from a profitability standpoint, what advice would you give them? And just how or where should they start when it comes to leveraging sustainability for growth? Maybe it could be in terms of small and medium businesses. So what advice would you give to them?
This is really difficult because I feel especially in developing countries, it's really, really difficult. So even if you look at a lot of the FMCG brands, which are doing an amazing job in everything else in Pakistan, one of the things that they fail on is maybe sustainability goals. And that's mainly because of price. We're all playing a price game here. As developing nations, we don't have clean energy, so to speak, and we don't have lots of budgets to make at the end of the day, it's all about price. How do we get it to be the cheapest? And when you start looking at businesses, is like, how can I make it the cheapest so that I can get lots and lots of people to buy it? That's when sustainability becomes, a little bit of a question mark, that, it's too expensive to do that, or we can't switch to solar, or stuff like that. But I think that if you're new in the market and you're kind of selling to the generation of tomorrow, I think sustainability has to be a goal. And I would say you can do small things, like paperless receipts to your customers. You can do tree drives. It can even be, it doesn't have to be even about the brand doing something. It's about standing up for something. There are a couple of brands last year I saw, which are doing some amazing work on tree plantation. So even their own team, they went and they made like a little, what's it called, Milwaukee forest or something. And I just think it's small steps. Even with what CoNATURAL is doing, it's a drop in the ocean. It means nothing and will change nothing as far as, if we look at the climate crisis where it is right now. Everybody needs to make, has to do their bit, whether it's recycling at home, whether it's promoting recycling, whether it's educating people. If you're a new business, just talk about, educate people. And I don't think that this sustainability has to be one of those things anymore, which you're like, I'm sustainable, I'm cool. It's like, we've gone beyond that. You have to be, if you care about planet Earth, if you love planet Earth, if you want to leave planet Earth in a better condition for your children than you found it, then everyone has a moral responsibility to do something, whether you're like an individual or a business. And there's so many small things you can do. Just talk about it, educate people, plant a tree, do something, do one good thing for your business. But it's only when 90% of the population starts doing something is there going to be an impact. One startup or one CoNATURAL doing something, it means nothing. But the more we talk about it and the more awareness there is, I think we're helping planet Earth. Also, I would suggest, for example, there's some really cool Netflix documentaries out there which you can watch, which are like really damning. And, you watch them and you're like, oh my God, I want to cry. I can't believe we've done this to our planet. One of them is Seaspiracy. Watch that. David Attenborough, who is like, my idol. I would love to meet him one day if I can. He's done some on Netflix. Watch them, watch those, and find inspiration as to what can you do today to make planet Earth a better place.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Myra. And I think you've covered some really great points when it comes to sustainability and the activities surrounding it. So this was definitely an insightful conversation, and I'm pretty sure our listeners are, having their questions of their own to, bring up. So we can now move on to our Q&A session. So I'll just hand over the stage to Anushka now. Anushka, over to you.
Thanks, Shweta, and thank you, Myra, for that. That was fantastic. Yes, our audience has quite a few questions that we're going to be taking right now. And one of the, so a couple people actually asked this was, in your opinion, what is trending in terms of product in the cosmetics and skincare industry in Pakistan? What is working for your customers and for your brand?
So if this is the question generally of what is trending, then I think, or if it's what generally works in Pakistan or used to work. So I think what was trending, and it's not a very long time ago, what used to be whitening products. And that really, really annoys me, by the way, because I'm totally anti-whitening products. Is because, I don't know, people in the subcontinent have this obsession of being white. And I think that was really trending a couple of years ago, is that, I apply something on my skin and I'll be like white or like fairer in 3 days. I personally think that's awful, but I really, really like the fact that that trend has changed. And now people are actually looking at labels. They understand that actually if I put something on my face and I expect something to change in 3 days, and there's something very, very dodgy in my skincare product. So I think that one of the things that is like trending now as a result of being obsessed with white is people are wanting to know what's in products, what are on the ingredient labels. They want to buy from companies who they trust. They don't want steroids. They don't want banned chemicals and mercury, etc., in the products. And of course, by the way, this I'm talking about, you know, an urban landscape. And I'm not talking about a rural landscape. I'm talking about people who are educated, who understand what they're putting on their skin. And I feel there's a trend, just like a couple of years ago, people became conscious of what they eat, right? Like, don't eat junk food, you know, don't drink too much soda, etc., etc. Now people are becoming more conscious about what they put on their skin, and I think that is a trend in the market for sure.
Thank you so much for answering that. And our next question is on balancing pricing and product. So how, as a brand, could you sort of perhaps justify high pricing for a product, and how do you ensure that customers understand the value of your product when it is priced in a certain way?
Great question. So we started in 2016, and we were very small. I mean, we were still small, but we were a very small company then. And so when we talk about certified organic, I mean, if you look at worldwide, organic is much more expensive than non-organic, right? And then of course, like if you look at food items, so organic will always be more expensive because the process in which the raw material is obtained is a much more expensive process. You have to make sure that the seed that's used is non-GMO. You have to make sure that the crop where the ingredient is being grown, you know, the water quality is good, the water pH is good, the soil does not have any leftover fertilizer or synthetic chemicals. You're not adding any artificial or synthetic fertilizer to that crop, and the soil is, you know, is perfect, and there's nothing that you are adding to growing that, you know, in an unnatural way. You let the plant grow naturally, and so obviously that's more expensive because usually there are lower yields with that. And then, of course, the certification process to actually say that, yes, you know, there's soil testing, there's seed testing, et cetera, it all adds up to cost. So that's why organic is more expensive. Now, as far as CoNATURAL is concerned, I was saying that we were a young company and we didn't have a lot of volume. And so that made our prices kind of expensive. However, now, standpoint versus the global standpoint, our price are actually very competitive. As a matter of fact, very cheap compared to organic products or 100% natural products that you would see abroad. And that is because in Pakistan, we know that we can't charge such a high price because at the end of the day, people are very, very price conscious here. Having said that, a couple of years ago, I would have said that yes, our products were very, very expensive. But now, as you know, the dollar PKR parity, I mean, when we started, I think the dollar was 106 rupees to a dollar, and now it's about 156 rupees to a dollar. Last year it went to about 165 rupees to a dollar. And so all these imported products became much, much more expensive. And so actually, because we're a manufacturer in Pakistan, and by this time we'd grown and we'd scaled, our products actually compete with most FMCG chemical-based products now as well. So we don't really, technically we should be charging consumers a lot more because of the ingredients that we're using, but we know that we can't. But we know that, for example, if we were to sell the same product in the US or the UK, we could charge much higher prices for it. And if you look at our UK website, for example, we do charge higher prices there for the same product.
Thank you so much for that answer. And the next one is actually related to the COVID-19 pandemic. So has the pandemic impacted CoNatural's ability to carry out sustainable activities? And if so, how has CoNatural overcome these challenges?
So has the pandemic impacted CoNatural's ability to carry on sustainable activities? Yes and no. So no, in terms of what I talked about earlier, we're trying to use waterless technology. We're trying to give paperless receipts. We're trying to we're the first company in Pakistan to do use recyclable machines. But yes, as well, because for example, we had planned in the beginning of this year that we would have a massive recycling drive, and we're still planning that, which is that you could return your CoNatural bottles to specific centers across our major cities, and either get a voucher or get free product. Like we had different kind of campaigns planned, and we could do none of them. Mainly because when you're recycling, it has a lot of touching. People have used the product, and then you put them in kind of bins. A lot of the retailers didn't agree to it. So yes, in that way, a lot of our sustainable activities as far as recycling was concerned was impacted. They're still on the cards though, and we plan to do them. But because of COVID, we've had to kind of delay these efforts. Similarly, for example, for our recycling machines, we wanted to put them in many, many stores across Pakistan by now, but a lot of the retailers are not agreeing because they take up space, and again, people are bringing their own bottles, and so, there's a lot of touching old bottle and then, touching the machine. So people are, wary about that. Retailers are wary about that because of the pandemic. So again, we've had to delay those activities, but I mean, they're definitely on the cards, and hopefully before the end of this year, you should be seeing more traction on that front.
Thank you so much for that answer, Myra. And the next question is actually on inspiration. So are there any brands that you draw inspiration from globally or even locally? Where do you find your inspiration for your brand and what you want your brand to be?
I think that there's some amazing companies globally. And I think that, with most of them, there I find like little inspiration. I don't think I want CoNATURAL to be any brand. I think every brand should have its own identity, and that's what we've always tried to kind of keep. One thing I would say, which was an early inspiration, is I used to work for Citigroup, and this is like way back when I lived in the UK, and I met Anita Roddick, and she was the owner of Body Shop. And what I love, I'm a huge tree hugger, and I'm a big animal lover. And she was the one who bought to like say no to animal testing for cosmetics. And I really love that. And I actually didn't even know back then, this is like, what, 20 years ago, that, cosmetics were actually tested on animals. And when I found out, I was appalled. And so I drew a lot of inspiration from that. There are a couple of, actually there's one brand in India, which I really love. It's called Forest Essentials, and they're based on Ayurvedic principles. And a lot of CoNATURAL's principles are also Hikmat and Ayurvedic based. And so I really love their packaging, and I love. I've been to India a couple of times, and I really enjoy their fragrances and their take on kind of natural beauty. Then there are a couple of. There's an Australian brand called Sukin, which I think is also really nice. And of course, there's some big brands, and I'm totally enamored by how they've scaled to be so big. If you look at Glossier, if you look at Drunk Elephant, I think that the way that they've scaled and the way that they have captured market from a market perspective, I'm totally inspired by them as well. So I kind of take inspiration from different brands for their different strengths.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that answer. And I think the next question is sort of a good continuation from that. So how have your customers reacted to your sustainability efforts? Have you noticed anything? Have they given you any feedback regarding it? That would be something that the audience would like to know more about.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, people have loved the idea, and this is especially people who really are into sustainability. You can actually look at their passion; they love it, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" And when you, because our pilot project was in Karachi, which is one of the big major cities in Pakistan, and we're based in Lahore. So a lot of our Lahore and Islamabad-based customers were emailing us, writing on social media that, oh, this is so cool, this is about our refillable stations, and like, when is this coming to Lahore or Islamabad? And we had amazing feedback on that. And then when we launched our recycling campaign, there was so many people who were really excited about that. And it's really heartening to see that CoNATURAL customers are feel for what we feel. They're just not people who just buy a beauty product. They like the fact that this is women-led. They like the fact that we're sustainable. They like the fact that, you should recycle. There've been a couple of customers who call us and they're like, oh, can you give me a place? I've got like 15 shampoo bottles. I just want to drop them off, and can you recycle them? So it's really heartening to see that what we want to promote, and we are being able to promote it. We're also being able to give awareness, and then our customers love us for what we stand for, and we're able to kind of, be an extension of what they love to do as well. So in all, it's been really nice. And thank you to everyone who appreciated our efforts.
That's fantastic. And I think that's a great note on which we can close our question and answer session for this evening. And thank you so much, Myra, for taking the time to answer the questions so succinctly and so precisely. We really do appreciate that, and for the detail that you went to. I'm sure many brands and business owners that attended this webinar would really appreciate and are appreciating your comments. So I'll hand it over to Anu for the closing remarks. And thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Anishka. So really wonderful. What an amazing, insightful discussion it was. Thanks everyone who joined us for the webinar through Zoom and through Facebook Live. Thanks Anishka and Shweta and Team Alavi for co-hosting this webinar with us. And last but not the least, thanks so much to Myra for sharing some inspiring stuff. I wish CoNATURAL's drop in the ocean can make bigger impact in terms of sustainability and can help save our earth. So yeah, with that note, I hope to see all of you with some other guest and with some other webinar. Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Myra. Thanks, Anu.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.